Morning, everyone. This is Wesley Hudson, Chair of Prosperity and Livability Committee. I'd like to call our meeting to order this morning. Present in City Hall with me today is Councilmember Michael Holmes and Councilmember Cyril Jefferson. Councilmember Monica Peters is absent today. We have one agenda item this morning, and I will call on our Director of Parks and Rec, Lee Burnett. I'm so sorry. Call him out of retirement. Lee Tillery.
Right. Yeah. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Hope y'all are doing well today. It's good to see everyone. I'm glad to see we just have the one agenda item because we have a pretty special topic I'd like to talk to you guys a little bit about today in reference to a permanent memorial for a leader in the community, Mr. Hank Wall, who passed away in March this past year. I think everybody knew Hank and knew what he did for the city of High Point. I'll talk to you a little bit about his impact. Not only you all know his impact, but the impact he had on Parks and Recreation in High Point as well, through the establishment organization of BOTSO and what he's done, and then how we'd like to memorialize Hank at Washington Terrace Park with an entryway sign. I want to talk to you guys a little bit about that. I'd like to introduce a few special guests. One, Hank's daughter and son, who I've heard many things about, but I've never had a chance to meet, Ayana and Shai, and also a family friend who's worked hard with me in communicating on this, Shelly Skeen, with a lot of dealings with Hank, and it's kept me informed on a lot of things moving forward, but they're here as well in support, so I wanted to recognize them. Say nice to meet y'all. I hear a lot of good things about you guys, so it's nice to finally meet you guys. But for those that knew Mr. Wall and what he did for High Point, as you know, he passed away on Saturday, March the 5th. We talk about what he did in the city, but specifically with BOTSO and what he did for the youth in this community for the past 28 years when he formed BOTSO, established this mentoring agency for black males ages 6 to 18 to make a positive impact on their life. And it'd be interesting to hear all the stories and see all the numbers of people and youth that he made such a positive impact on over the years. Hank would call me. He was a great ideas man. He'd call me about every 2 or 3 weeks, and he'd say, "Lee, let me run something by you." And I knew it was always something positive or something he wanted to do positive in the community. I miss talking to him, but he always had great ideas, and I appreciate it. But what he's done with that program, and especially in the Washington Terrace Park, has been is really unmatched, and his dedication to the city. But through this mentoring program and what it's meant as we try to serve our youth in High Point, we cannot do it with organizations. We couldn't do it without BOTSO, and he's done a phenomenal job of that. Couple of things that he's done in the community, and these are just talking points. Shelly passed these along to me. These are just a small example of some of his involvement within the community as a board member of the Carl Chavis Y, Vice President of High Point NAACP, involved here obviously with the city, with the Human Relations Commission, and then some of the awards, just a couple that I had room to put up there that Hank's received over the years for his commitment to not only High Point but the region and what he's done in his volunteer services throughout his life. We talk about naming facilities or amenities in our Parks and Recreation Department. We don't have any recent history of doing that within the department, but they can go from a lot of different levels. I don't think we have a set policy on naming, but we do have examples of where we've gone in and named certain facilities, parks, amenities after people in the past. These are just a few of the examples that I came up with. Armstrong Park is named after, I forget his first name, but the family that donated the land where Armstrong Park sits. Their son was killed in World War II. When they donated the land to the city, they wanted to ensure that it was named Armstrong Park. So that's how it came about, that name. A lot of our parks are named basically geography, depending on the geography or the area of town, or a lot of times even with streets that are nearby. The Brooks Wrightsville Tennis Center, Brooks had a big impact in tennis throughout the the city. J.C. Clarence Strickland, my municipal pool, that's at Washington Terrace Park as well. Mr. Strickland was a longtime community advocate and served on our Parks and Recreation Commission. His grandson, Brian Strickland, is on our Parks and Recreation Commission now, which is pretty neat. Rebecca Smothers, Piedmont Environmental Center as well. So we have some examples of what we've done in the past as far as naming these. They're all kind of different. You see a park, you see a tennis center, you also see a pool, environmental center, so they're very different. What we're looking to do, and been working with Shelley a lot to do this, and since Botso has such a home at Washington Terrace Park, is allow for and design and install a permanent entryway sign to be installed at one of the two entrances at Washington Terrace Park. There's two entrances into the park. We had talked about one, but there's a Gordon Street entrance and the Murray Street entrance, which goes into the back entrance towards the pool. And we talked about establishing an entryway sign that would commemorate and memorialize Hank and call it Hank Wall Way, and establish that at Washington Terrace Park, and at some point dedicate that and install it, and it'd be a permanent fixture in Washington Terrace Park. I have some pictures. I thought it'd be easier for you guys to see. Apologize, I should have handed those out earlier. But before I thought it'd be better to have a rendering on a piece of paper to kind of show you when we get these renderings to show, someone standing beside it, the height. But we thought we'd do this in an entryway that's in a safe area at one of the parks. And we've been talking about, the best way to do this. Now, this particular sign, we've gone back and forth on some different things of maybe putting Hank's name in and kind of his life and a little bit more detail on top, but there wouldn't be much more room, but something that would really signify what we're trying to do with an entryway and recognize Hank. So this is our suggestion for something similar to this rendering with what we'd like to do at Washington Terrace Park. Be glad to answer any questions you guys may have as well.
Have you, the entrance to the Greenway, the Wiley sign, have you thought of something on the ground that you can actually put more verbiage on?
Yeah.
I was thinking that too.
Yeah.
I think explain who he was.
I think we could do that. I mean, I think, just given the positive feedback, we could look at some different options to really talk a lot more about what Hank did for the community and really tell the story a little bit more. I think that'd be a great idea.
Yeah. I like the Wiley sign. It's enough explanation of who he was, but
Yeah.
that gives you a
Yeah,
little
maybe it's a combo of both. We can do this
Mm-hmm.
and then do something that has a little bit more information on.
Yeah, I was gonna say the entryway sign, I mean, if it's kind of like a street, so to speak, as you come in, maybe somewhere else where you can at least go read up on it inside the Washington Terrace Center. I think it'd be really appropriate, because that's where he did a lot of the programming at.
Yeah.
That'd be really appropriate.
We did, that's right.
And as kids or folks come in and say, who's involved, you can say, well, yeah, go visit the center, we've got that's something there we can read up on.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely.
I'll say a couple thoughts. One, I know that, given the timeline of things, I think March 5th, right, is the date in which Hank passed away. So I gotta say kudos just to everyone who's been involved, Shelley, you all, Shy, and can you say your name again? Ayana. Appreciate you all, seriously, coming in and being a part of this. Hank was an incredible mentor, incredible just advocate and leader in our community, and that it means a ton that you all still carry on that legacy. I have to say kudos also to Parks and Rec working with you all, because it's been less than 2 months since this all happened.
Yeah.
And for us to have the renderings and be moving so fast on this, I think it's really commendable. I'll speak, one of the things that's not up there that I think is really notable was Hank's involvement with the championship football team at Andrews High School about would have been back in fall of 2014, so roughly 7.5 years ago. I was teaching the marching band then, and I can recall the impact Hank had instead of the team having like a chaplain, so to speak, Hank was like that person for them, who would come in, pray with the team, mentor all the fellas. And you talk about the students who I taught every day who had so many awesome things to talk about Hank getting them through some tough times, that team would not have that championship without Hank's role. And Hank got a championship ring for it, I believe, right? There you go. Shy's got it on. So, you know, that's just, I mean, you talk about legacy and impact, and there's many more stories of that are some of like those sort of untold stories of Hank's involvement with young people in our city, and how he's really helped, I think, forge a path for so many high pointers to be who they are today, as they say, create that, you know, those outcomes for a successful portfolio. I think it's incredible. I actually love this idea, and I'd be ready, I mean, at some point for us to go ahead and make a motion to approve this. Also, though, knowing that we want to talk about something where you can actually learn about Hank maybe inside the center too.
Yeah.
So I don't want this to not go ahead and move forward, though. I want this to go ahead and move forward.
No, yeah.
So I make a motion that we go ahead and approve this to move forward, but that we also continue the conversations about somewhere inside the center to continue talking about his legacy.
Yeah, we can certainly do that, and Shelley's been great working with me, so the more the merrier there, and I think we can move forward with something and certainly bring that back before you guys too, to talk about some additional things we can do, but we can at least, you know,
Yeah,
start
get
with the
this started.
entryway sign.
I think it's a good start.
Yeah, it's a good start, absolutely.
And I'll second that, Mr. Chairman.
Absolutely, thank you. There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion on this? Not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you all. Thank you so much as well. And Boxo still is being, the legacy is still being continued, correct? It's
Yeah, and
great program.
I don't know if it's appropriate. I wasn't sure if either one of you want to have words while you're here with us. We appreciate you coming on down.
Absolutely.
Shy.
Exactly what I was going to ask.
Pointing the team words.
Just want to say good morning, and this is an amazing opportunity, and just amazing to be at this level with all the work that Daddy did in the community, and as stated with the football team. There was many a Friday nights that he and I was out there together, rainy and cold, and I remember specifically one of the winning touchdown in the state championship game. My dad, we were down by about 4, and Daddy went up and down the sideline to each and every player. He said, "Expect a miracle." Expect a miracle. And then Lamar threw a touchdown pass to Manning. And we went on to win the state championship. But this is his championship. He loved hot pork. He loved the pork. So this means a lot to us because I know, and Shelley and Yana know, my mom know how much the pork meant to him. So I appreciate it. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Morning.
My name is Ayana Wall, and I am very taken aback by the outpouring of love, respect that has been given on behalf of Dad and the work that he has done in the community. My brother and I were 2 years apart, and Dad and I had a different relationship in that I'm baby girl. So a lot of stuff I knew he was constantly at a meeting, or constantly talking to this person and that person, but the only person I knew was Daddy. I knew that a lot of people knew him, and he knew a lot of people, but I had no idea until his passing the complete impact that he had and has in the community still. Botso has been around forever, but Lotso was also a part of Botso at one point as well. Ladies organized to serve others. So Dad also had very positive impact. Those stories that you spoke on with the young men, with little girls as well. So at any rate, I just want to thank you all for considering this. I do recall a moment, and then I'm gonna zip it up. I do recall a moment asking Dad years ago, hey, like you have all these awards, you have all of these accolades and this and that, but how does that make you feel? Like whenever you get up and you speak, you don't even seem nervous. And he said, well, I'm kind of used to it. I said, yeah, okay, well, I can see that. I said, but still, like you have all of these awards from even before I was born, it seems. How does that make you feel? And he said, it makes me feel really good, you know, that I'm recognizing that I'm giving my flowers while I'm here. He said, but you know, the thing that would make me feel most proud is for people to do the work that needs to be done in the community, because after I'm gone, it still needs to continue. So I thought about that and I sat with that, and clearly it's still with me. And it may not be in the capacity that Dad did, because there will never be another Hank Wall. However, the work that he did in the community, in my opinion, has impacted a group of people, individuals, in such a way that we may never see it. But I think it is very important for us to do what you all have decided to do and memorialize him in this way, in this place. And so for that, we say thank you.
Good morning. My name is Shelley Skeen, and it is a pleasure to be before you this morning. Thank you to each and every one of you all on the committee for having us this morning on the agenda, to Mr. Lee Tillery, whom I have talked to via email literally probably for 4 years and just met him this morning. So grateful to social media. You can talk to people and never see them, right? And you're in the same city. Mr. Hank would always say, Lee's the go-to man. And so with that, I had began to petition Lee, just to give a little bit more meat on the request, back when Mr. Hank set out on this awesome course to write his autobiography. I said, Mr. Hank, you don't have time to write it. He so dubbed me his publicist. Well, he decided to write his book while I was in Las Vegas for a wedding. Out of about 2 weeks worth of me coordinating a wedding there, he pops up and says, here's the draft. I said, Mr. Hank, I'm not your publicist if you wrote this without me. I haven't even looked at this book. That goes to show the tenacity of Mr. Hank Wall's efforts to leave something with this community. We did outlines, we did talking points, we did chapter sections, and I'm telling you, when he put that thing out, he put it out and he says, here's my homework. For those who know me, I give homework all the time, and with that, I gave Lee some homework. I said, now, Mr. Lee, when this book comes out, I would love to surprise Mr. Hank. And it's hard to surprise, it was past tense hard to surprise Mr. Hank. But it was my goal then to have a plaque available and ready as we were to set out on the book signing tour, as we did in just about 2 or 3 locations. His introduction to his book, They Used to Call Me Brother, was actually ready to go, pressed and packaged for the Father's Day last year. Was it last year now? The Father's Day Black Men United for Change event there on Washington Street. And with that, when he was ready to press, print, package, and present that book, I was saying, Mr. Hank Wall, do you have enough? And I always call him by his whole name sometimes. I said, do you have enough? Do you have enough? With that, thankfully, the rain came and tempered back a little bit of the attendance. And I was just kind of wiping my brow with a sigh of relief, like, whew. Because I know what Unity Fest in the past, hence, had presented. And so he was very, very on top of, very intentional about making sure that he wanted to print those books and have them available so that he could touch each and every citizen that wanted to purchase that book. And he did just that. And with that, in November, as I talked to Lee, I said, listen, we're on our way to circle around, and we need Washington Terrace Park to be a place for the book signing. And I need a sign. I don't know how fast, if I have to get one made temporarily as a plaque. I need something, because that's my part of saying thank you to Mr. Hank for his endurance, for being determined to produce that autobiography. That day never came. And so with that, here I am now commemorating in grief as we continue to now memorialize him. And this was a part of what I knew would be the work, as Mr. Hank left with us in his final words, with the video that we played at the funeral, and it is available online if you all have not seen it, where he accepted the QEA award, and he said, always, always know your history. Know, I repeat, know your history, with such indignant tone, because he meant just that. And so as we stand today, it was my concern about a bigger sign, a different sign, where to put it, how does it look, how do I present this, because I knew the process, that unfortunately we may be in a state where we're currently dealing with the Daniel Brooks naming and changing right in our city. He was in the front of that fight with some of our other citizens, and it hurt my heart to see how, of course, ultimately business takes place with that, and we've lost a piece of history just in the name. So I didn't want a plaque in the building, because I knew one day that building may be destroyed. But hopefully a sign outwardly in the actual ground and established would probably outlast any changes, renovations, and improvements to Washington Terrace Park. I do appreciate the thoughts and the considerations for the plaque, for the column, more so that commemorative, what we see when it preserves the history of someone, and I look forward to continuing to further discussions and supporting Lee in any way that I can so that we can move that on and maybe shoot for next year around his 1-year death anniversary and recognition for something like that to happen. So thank you all again so much for your time this morning and your support, and we are so grateful to you all and the city of High Point for how, again, as Ayanna stated, the outpouring of love that's been shown for Mr. Hank. It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. If there is nothing further, thank you all for coming today.
So much, yeah.
Quite an honor to be in the presence of something happening this great. So we appreciate you all being here.
Mr. Chairman, perhaps one announcement that's appropriate for this, and Ayanna, you reminded me of it, talking about the Black Men United for Change. That event, it will continue again this year on June 19th, so the weekend of Father's Day. That group is still organized and still doing that work that Hank started and led in the past. And so for those who are able to come out and attend, it'll be a walk and it'll be a celebration of Juneteenth that'll happen in collaboration with Carl Chavis YMCA. So that's a fantastic event that I look forward to being a part of. And again, just to the point, doing the work, this is the work continued. So.
Anything further? If not, we stand adjourned. Thank you all.